Following various states, including Michigan, Pennsylvania, Nevada, certifying the outcome of the presidential election, which of course indicates that Joe Biden has won, he is president-elect, the stock market responded favorably. In fact, there was a giant jump in the Dow Jones just today after both Pennsylvania and Nevada certified. And there you go, you can see it at the very end of that chart where you see a pretty significant increase in the Dow Jones. Now, Donald Trump is too stupid to realize that the market is responding favorably to the fact that he has been voted out of office. And so after hiding in a bunker following the election, with the exception of maybe one press conference, he decides to come out. He has reemerged to basically show how delusional he is in regard to what's happening to the market and its reaction to the fact that he's lost. Watch.
The stock market, Dow Jones Industrial Average, just hit 30,000, which is the highest in history. We've never broken 30,000, and that's just despite everything that's taken place with the pandemic. I'm very thrilled with what's happened on the vaccine front. That's been absolutely incredible. It's nothing like that has ever happened medically, and I think people are acknowledging that, and it's having a big effect. But the stock market's just broken 30,000. Never been broken, that number. That's a sacred number, 30,000. Nobody thought they'd ever see it. That's the 9th time since the beginning of 2020, and it's the 48th time that we've broken records during the Trump administration. And I just want to congratulate all the people within the administration that work so hard. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the people of our country, because there are no people like you. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Mr. President, even if it's sincere, why not concede for the yourself?
Okay, that was the whole press conference. You just saw it. He just came in and go, "Oh, me get market to 30,000." No, as Anna pointed out, it was just the biggest cell phone you could have. The markets have reacted very positively to me losing. They're breaking records because they're so excited about Joe Biden coming in, and the fact that I'll finally be leaving you guys, and the madness has come to an end. They're ecstatic that I have lost. Oops. Okay, but guys, there's actually a more important point there. He said it's a sacred number. No, the sacred number is over 250,000 dead in coronavirus. And as we've reported to you over the last couple of days, it's now have at record numbers, record number of cases, record number of deaths per day, right now. He hasn't addressed that at all. Instead, he comes out and goes, "Me do good with markets, sacred number." Number of dead, who cares? That's not a sacred number. The beloved, cherished stock market, that's a sacred number. So if you're wondering why he's doing this at all, and if it's truly dumb, not exactly. If you're following the news, it is a cell phone, as we just explained. But there are two sides of it that are, I hate to use this word in regards to Trump, but logical, and maybe it's accidentally logical. But so let me explain real quick. One is, he's pleading to the business executives. He's like, "Come on, the markets are so high. You don't want to get rid of me, do you?" Because as we told you on the show yesterday, almost all the top business executives came out and said, "We're done with them. In fact, we're not going to give the Republicans anymore in Georgia. If you guys don't recognize that he lost the election, we're not going to let him end democracy." So it's a, hey, look at that business leader kind of doing the right thing for once. So bless their hearts on that. But he knows they're the real power center, because the Republican senators are the only thing they're more obsessed with than licking Donald Trump's boots is licking the boots of business owners and business executives, right? So that's partly what his appeal here is. But the second thing he's doing is basically trying to tell the whole country, remember, I did the stock market. They didn't react to this because of Joe Biden. They did it because of me. And if you say, well, that's foolish, that's obviously not true. Yes, but you know that. Not everybody knows that. Since Donald Trump constantly says it was me, and the Democrats never take credit for anything positive, well, then a lot of the country winds up thinking, oh, I guess it was Trump. So that kind of ridiculous, over-the-top credit taking for things you didn't do, in fact, in this case, the exact opposite, from a marketing and branding point of view, actually does work. And that's why it's so frustrating that the Democrats never make their case and they let this clown bully, run the place with this kind of propaganda.
The truth is, the markets again did react favorably to the fact that Donald Trump lost and that these various states certified the election results. There was a lot of concern about unrest, instability, uncertainty as a result of some of Donald Trump's behavior. But now with him allowing the transition to move forward and with these states certifying, looks like investors in the market feel comfortable. So the stock market has notched new record highs since Biden emerged as the winner, as investors celebrated both the prospect of an end to election year political uncertainty as well as progress on COVID-19 vaccines. So that is part of it. With COVID-19 vaccines, obviously the economy can open back up as normal, people can get back to work, and so investors are looking at that as well. Now, if the stock market did so well under Trump, and to be fair, it did, why is it that Wall Street is reacting favorably to Biden coming in? Well, the truth is Donald Trump's erratic behavior leads to uncertainty, and investors don't like that. They get uncomfortable with that pretty quickly. So since taking office, Trump has sent tweets or retweets with stock market references more than 200 times and made scores of statements spotlighting the market's rise under his administration, because that's all he cares about, that's all he focuses on. But there is a downside to that. So for instance, Trump has disclosed market moving information after private discussions with executives. He has demanded that the Fed cut interest rates to prop up the market, and he has unveiled his changing positions in the trade war with China in a hail of unexpected tweets that sent share prices tumbling. So again, his social media behavior can change things in the market within seconds. And there was a lot, I mean, if you look at the graph that we were looking at earlier, you can kind of see the volatility that is the result of his erratic behavior and the uncertainty that comes along with it. He would also engage in public fights with companies that would send their stocks tumbling temporarily, of course. So he has publicly threatened and castigated major American companies, facing off with Amazon over its tax payments and deals with US Postal Service, with General Motors, Ford, and Carrier. Then a subsidiary of United Technologies over plans to shutter plants, and with Lockheed Martin and Boeing over the cost of fighter jets and replacements for Air Force One. To be honest with you, some of those things, not all of them, I thought was fine. I like when he holds companies accountable for certain abuses that they engage in. Now, he doesn't do it out of the goodness of his heart. He usually engages in those very public battles for his own personal self-interest. But nonetheless, I mean, his behavior led to a lot of uncertainty in the markets. And what investors are looking forward to now is a predictable presidency with Joe Biden. And I just want to give you one quote from a money manager. This is Brian Ritholtz, who spoke to the New York Times, and this is what he had to say about Trump. I just want my life to go back to normal, and I don't mean pre-pandemic normal. I mean pre-golden escalator to hell normal. I just want the noise level to quiet down.
Yeah. But there is one more thing here. So if you see the market rising overall under Trump, why did it do that, you might wonder? Because this is going to be relevant if Trump or obviously some Republican will run in 2024 and they will all pretend to be big Trump fans and might actually be big Trump fans. And so they'll pretend that the Trump administration did great for the economy, and they'll point back to this stock market rise. So just so you know, clearly for the record now, not later, it was mainly because the Fed kept rates super low. That means loose money. That means that all these companies and the tax breaks. Now that depletes our resources completely, so we can't educate our kids. We don't have enough money for your health care, any of that. That has to get fixed, and the anger rises in the country because all the money is going to the top big businesses in the country and in the world, and none of it is going to you. So your anger rises, but they will then pretend that you were swell and super happy. Why? Because they'll say the stock market was happy. But the reality is the stock market went up for most of that, partly because Obama was already heading in that direction and Obama's numbers were better. Trump's were a slight decline from Obama, partly because they're just giving out money at nearly 0% interest rate, so people don't know where to put the money. And that's a little simplistic, but not by much. They have so much money, they've got to put it somewhere, so they keep jamming it back into the stock market, and partly because of the stock buybacks, because of the tax cuts. So all that overinflated the market. This has got to crash at some point. Even CNBC anchors are like, what is going on? How could it constantly go up like this? It makes no sense at all. Everything is overvalued. I'm paraphrasing, obviously. So, but if it crashes under a Democratic president, they will pretend it was because of Biden. Now, I'm not a fan of Biden. I think Biden is basically telling the market nothing will fundamentally change. Don't worry, I won't help the American people. I'll continue to help you. And that's why the markets are like, yes, Biden won, okay? So I'm keeping it real on all fronts. But anything, a tiny little prick of this bubble makes the whole thing burst. And then the Trump world will go, see, it was because of the Democrats.
Bingo.
No, it was because of the bubble you built through those tax cuts and the Fed policy. And that's a fact.
No, I think you're 100% right in your prediction, Cenk. I think you're 100% right. And if Biden is unwilling to do what it takes to at least begin to close this gap between the rich and the poor in this country, I just think that he's going to end up paving the way for someone even worse than Donald Trump, because Trump and his cronies will blame Biden for the stock market crash if that does happen under his watch. And I think that there's a decent chance, because remember, stock buybacks did prop up the market. There's no question about it. All that cheap money being pumped in from the Fed, that did prop up the market. I don't know if that whole process is gonna change under a Biden administration. We'll see, but if he doesn't address the economic frustrations that the vast majority of Americans are feeling right now. And remember, the vast majority of Americans are not significantly invested in the stock market. The top 10% of this country is over 80%. They make up over 80% of the people who are invested in the stock market in this country. So that gives you a sense of how the vast majority of Americans don't really care. They're not paying attention to the stock market. They're paying attention to their wages. They're paying attention to their medical bills. They're paying attention to the bread and butter issues that Biden ran away from when he was campaigning. And if the Democratic Party doesn't want to pay the consequences of abandoning Americans and the very issues that matter the most to them, well, then they better get cracking. And they better pay attention to what's going on and do something about it. But I'm not gonna hold my breath on that.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.